How's the season going so far, Becky?
We started pretty well actually. I think we're sitting fourth at the moment with some games in hand, which will help us later on in the season. But we started well. We the first game we lost. I think maybe a little bit of complacency set in. But after that we hit the ground running and really started to show the league what we're about and what we want. Ultimately we are aiming for promotion.
Do you think it's a realistic opportunity, possibility?
Absolutely. I think with the team we've got here, the players we've brought in, the setup that we've got, I think we would do well to step up into the next league. Unfortunately, not every team has the same structure and go up and often have to come back down. But I think with the team we've got here, I think we could do really well up in the league. It obviously takes some adjusting, but it's up to us to win the league. Obviously, there's only one team that goes up, which makes it more difficult. And Millwall have sat at the top for pretty much most of the season. So
with Reading, yeah?
Yes, it'll be interesting to see if Millwall can maintain that good start. And Reading obviously will come down from last year, so their main aim, I presume, would be to go straight back up. And they're a really good setup, so it'll be interesting to see when we play them what the outcome is.
Well, you've got Spurs at home today, so good luck for that. Okay, right, well, we've certainly got a nice day for it out there in the Essex country. How did football get started for you? How did you initially get into football?
Well, pretty much like most of the girls, I imagine. I just started playing at school. There wasn't any girls' teams where I was growing up, so I just played with the lads. But I wasn't allowed to play competitively because I was a girl. So I played with all the boys at school in the boys' teams until I reached a certain age, and then one of my teachers suggested that I went and played for Gillingham because that's where she was playing at the time.
Okay.
So that was my first competitive level. I think it was Gillingham under 11s or something like that.
Okay. What was that like? Sort of stepping into that sort of new world.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really good. A whole different new lifestyle for me, playing in a structured coaching environment, playing with girls who obviously are all of a similar ability, whereas where I'd been before, if I'd played in a school team or anything, the standard wasn't ever so good. So playing in a team such as Gillingham was really good, and obviously that was my local team growing up anyway, so I followed the men's as well. So it was lovely to pull on that shirt each week, and even at a young age I learned to develop a passion for the game.
So you were a Gillingham supporter, were you, as a kid?
Always been West Ham.
Oh, okay.
From my dad's influence. But Gillingham was my local team, so my dad and I used to watch them when we could as well.
So you went up to see West Ham quite a bit in those days?
Quite a few times, yeah.
Who was the main kind of star player in those days for West Ham? Di Canio?
Yeah, I loved Di Canio. Di Canio was,
everyone loves Di Canio.
Just out of this world, phenomenal. He was probably my favourite, I think, growing up.
What position do you feel comfortable?
For me, I prefer to play just behind the striker. That more creative role, if I can get on the ball and make things happen as often as I can. I started my career as a centre mid, and I've played centre mid up until I signed for West Ham. They signed me as a striker. But this formation we play now with the three up top allows me to roam quite a bit, which gives me the opportunity to drop short and receive the ball if I can. Or on occasions when we're playing big teams from the league above, I'll have to try and provide a bit of strength up top and be a target player, which isn't something I particularly enjoy. Like I say, I prefer to drop and get the ball, but needs must, and if I'm in a position where I have to adapt my game, then so be it.
Is there any? Would you say there's any kind of like particular areas of your game that you feel could improve? What areas of your game personally do you think you could develop on?
I'd always like to be scoring more. Obviously, as any striker would.
No, definitely.
I go into every game thinking that I want to be banging a hat trick if I can. I did that on my debut actually for West Ham, and I've never matched it, so I need to up my game.
Actually, I'm fascinated with this. What strikers, like in the men's game that you were watching on TV, what strikers did you feel inspired by? Who were your favourite strikers as you were growing up?
Growing up? I don't know. I watched a lot of football growing up, so I tended to watch the midfielders as I was a centre midfielder. I tended to watch their movement and their runs off the ball. But in terms of strikers, I don't know. Di Canio always caught my eye when he played in the attacking role. Shearer.
Yeah, of course.
Got on the end of everything.
Yeah,
absolutely, just smashed it every time.
I guess to be honest with you, he's probably one of the best all-round strikers I've ever seen. I think one of the best finishers I've ever seen is Rush.
Yeah.
Ian Rush.
Yeah.
He was just phenomenal. It was just ridiculous how many. But he always used to get this 6-yard box kind of goals where Shearer used to bang him in from about 30, 40 yards, or Fowler as well.
Yeah, Fowler. I really liked Fowler growing up. I'm fascinated by left-footed people.
Really?
I don't know why.
Maradona?
Yeah.
Maradona, all that foot, Puskás. Like in the Hungarian. Oh God, listen, we could go on all day. I felt like me sort of trying to divulge my limited football knowledge. How did West Ham find you?
Well, I was playing at Crystal Palace at the time, and we played them here actually, Crystal Palace versus West Ham, and we ended up losing the game 4-1. I think quite a considerable loss. But I played up front, and there was a change in personnel, and the managers just kind of come to me and said, "Look, we're a bit short. Would you mind playing a different role for the game?" So I stepped up and went and played up top. And I scored our goal, and it just so happened that West Ham were in the market for a new striker, and they put in a 7-day approach for me, and there was
what a difference a goal makes.
Yes, absolutely. But I had a couple of teams interested at the time. Brighton was one of them. I'd gone down to see how their setup fared, and Charlton was another one. But I'm a West Ham fan, so it was a no-brainer for me, really. And I went to a training session, and the girls were brilliant, the management were fantastic, and I just felt right at home. So it was just an obvious decision for me.
Hobbies and interests outside football. What do you like getting up to?
Well,
even though you said beforehand you don't really know much.
Other than football, I don't really know what else I do. Work, pretty much, but I'm a bit of a geek, so I like learning.
No, that's cool.
So I'll read. I love listening to music and films. That's kind of my thing to just relax.
Well, who are you quite into? What was the last album you bought?
Last album, Emily Sandé, I think, was the last one I bought. But I like a range, really. I like a lot of bands, so people who play their own instruments. And
do you ever go and see anyone live? Have you ever seen
the last concert I went to was a band called Three Doors Down. They're an American band. One of my favourites. Love them. Tried to get tickets for Train, actually. That was a couple of weeks ago, but I couldn't. I think they're my absolute favourite. But music's probably my thing. Reading books or like I say, films. I like a film that challenges my thoughts more than anything.
What does football do for you, Becky?
It means everything. I've played since I can remember. It brought my family closer together. I always had such fantastic support from my mum and dad, and my brother and sister, and my mum and dad obviously drove all over the country taking me to games. So it was a lovely excuse to spend time with them as well. But I also had my not just my immediate family, but my extended family all came to watch, and it was just a brilliant thing to do as a group of people, really. But for me, if I wasn't playing football, I think I'd be lost. It's all I've ever known, and it instills that kind of discipline in you, that it gives you a way of letting out your passions, and
of course.
To stay motivated. I'm quite an ambitious person, so if I wasn't doing football, I'd probably be doing something else of a similar context. But like I say, football's my life. Like most of the girls here would probably tell you the same.
Would you say there's a potential future coach in you?
For me?
A manager, yeah. Do you reckon there's a manager in you?
Potentially. I do I've done quite a bit of coaching. My job at the moment allows me, I work in football academies with boys, one of which is at Thurrock actually, so it allows me to be in a football environment, which is brilliant, and potentially setting up a girls' academy, which would allow me to take the forefront, the main role, which would be fantastic for me to do that as a job.
What would you? I love asking. The great thing about this is because I think it just sort of gives the footballer's a voice, and I really, really enjoy that, and that's the most wonderful part about doing these interviews, and the amazing personalities that I'm getting is just phenomenal. What would you say, what would be your voice if you could say what needs to be changed and what needs to be done for women's football to progress, and for the the media to take
question.
Well,
I think the media will play a huge role in promoting women's football.
But do they do as much as they should?
In my opinion, no.
No, I think in a lot of people's opinion, no.
I think the Olympics did wonders for women's football, but I think it would be criminal if they didn't go and play in the Rio Olympics, because
that's right.
They've set that standard now. They've got people interested. If it suddenly stopped, I think that would be would just show that women's football isn't important. But I think the media need to take more interest. Obviously, the Super League, the new Super League that started, that has been brilliant. But obviously, that's on ESPN, which is a channel that people have to pay for. And in comparison to men's football, a lot of people don't want to pay to go and watch the women, unfortunately. But it has done wonders.
That's because it's been exposed in the wrong way, perhaps.
Perhaps, yeah.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
Is that a fair enough thing?
I think, yeah.
Because I've only been really doing this for 3 or 4 months, but as the months are going on, I'm learning more.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? I'm meeting more people involved. It is, exactly.
It's a different world to the men's. But I don't know. I do think there's plenty of people in women's football who want to push it the right way and who are trying their best. And all of the England GB players, you'll see them and things they've sacrificed to play that standard. And obviously, that's not to say that we don't sacrifice at this level.
No, not at all.
But at their level, it's a different game. It's almost full time. Not a great deal of money in it. I think that would be the key.
It's money as well, isn't it?
If there was more money into the women's game, it would free people up to be able to train more, to gel more as a team, which will only benefit on the pitch, and that's ultimately what people want to see, teams that are good. Obviously, the Arsenals and the Chelseas tend to attract a lot more support because they're well known, and Arsenal are lucky enough to have great support from the men's club, which is brilliant. It would just be brilliant if all of the other teams could follow suit.
Right, FTQ, 5 top questions. What's your next pair of football boots?
I've only just purchased my latest ones. I've always been a Nike girl, actually. I've always worn them, but I've had some problems with my foot and had to go for a pair of Adidas this year.
Okay.
Because they're wider, so I'd probably go for another pair of Adidas.
A boy or girl band you liked as you were growing up, but can't admit it?
Oh dear. Guilty pleasure. I liked Boyzone growing up.
Okay, fair dues.
But yeah, I won't advertise that too much.
Favourite film?
Oh, there's so many.
Top of your head.
Life of Davy Gale.
Okay.
Fantastic film.
The last book you read?
I'm trying to think of the title of the one that's on my bedside cabinet at the moment.
Or the second to last? One this year.
God. The real.
Me and my
the real Katie
awkward
something
questions.
it was called. The real.
I
can't remember. Something.
No, that's fine. Would you do a skydive in your lifetime?
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah.
I would love to. Yeah, I'd probably absolutely be so nervous before it happened, but without doubt, it's something that I'd love to do.
Do it when you're young, because I did mine when I was young, and I wouldn't have the courage now.
Yeah, I often wonder if I will get to do one, but I definitely would like to.
Okay, listen, thanks ever so much, Becky.
Thank you.
I mean, like I said, we've got a wonderful, beautiful day to do this, so I guess you go. So it's Tottenham today, and good luck with that.
Thank you.
And I hope it goes well for the rest of the season and beyond.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Cheers.